doing here? Anyway. Another mic, okay. Thank you for coming. It's a great little town, isn't it? Yeah. Most of you live here, or you came from afar?
Or around.
Oh, good. Am I asking too many questions? All right, so let's get started. I don't know how many people know me in life, but my life, in fact, this Friday I'll be 83 years of age. Thank you. The interesting thing about my life, it's always been opportunities and obstacles. Thank God the opportunities are more than the obstacles. But I had another great obstacle come up. This book came out the 25th of November, right? I wrote this book, and a lot of this book I wrote 63 years ago about Marilyn Monroe and all of those experiences. This book came out the same day by James Patterson. Now, why I'm bringing it up, what's ever in this book with the photographs of me and Marilyn Monroe and all that, and everybody's, oh yeah, he's been with Marilyn Monroe. There's photographs in there, and they're not superimposed. James Patterson wrote this book, and it just came out. And he now verifies everything that I wrote here 63 years ago in this book. Because I said in my book that Bobby Kennedy killed Marilyn Monroe. In this book, they have Bobby Kennedy smothering her with a pillow. And for all these years, all of this was put away somewhere. And even they questioned, and that's what I love about this guy. Obviously, they gave him this information because of the fact everybody's dead. See, when I wrote it, Bobby was the Attorney General. His brother was the President of the United States. So when I left Maryland on the last weekend, 1962, I left Marilyn Monroe at Cal Neva. I went there for Mr. Costello, who most of you know. I worked and lived with this guy forever, thank God. He took me under his wing when I was 12. And I live in his house right now in New York. He left it to me. But why I'm bringing that up, nobody believed what I said. Now, because of the 63 years go by, in his book, he puts in it that I had, what I said about Bobby, because when I left her at Cal Neva, the thing why she was there, Sinatra invited her there. Sam Giancana, the underboss of Chicago, was there. And they orchestrated for her to sleep with Bobby and John. See, Cal Neva is a casino on the border of Nevada and California. That's why it's called Cal Neva. And it was owned by Sinatra and the mob. The mob only stayed in the bungalows on the California side. They weren't allowed to stay there. But at night, they walk across the pool and go to the casino. Nobody said anything. Now they're saying what I said. Because when I left there, nobody knew that Marilyn Monroe had an abortion of Bobby's kid. And she got hysterical because they wanted her to sleep with Bobby and John. John never showed up. One more time and put it on film. Because Sam Giancana and Tony Accardo, the boss of Chicago, they got J. Edgar Hoover, who was the head of the FBI, they had a party for him in Chicago because he was a cross-dresser and nobody knew it. And he always denounced the mob. He said, there's no mafia, it's a myth, because they said, you talk about the mob anymore, we're going to let these pictures out. So that was the end of that. Then obviously he died. All of this now is in this book. I wrote this, my book, a lot of it is since my beginnings. You know, 63 years ago. I left Marilyn Monroe the last weekend of July in 1962. She was alive, screaming at the top of her lungs with Sinatra, saying, I'm not going to do this. I just had an abortion. Nobody knew that. A Bobby's kid. And I'm going to the press and I'm going to disclose these Kennedys. Now, one was the president, one was the attorney general. And when I got back and told Costello, he said, how'd that go? I said, it didn't go at all. Nobody, she wouldn't do it. They didn't get the film. And she's going to the press. He said, they're going to kill her. I said, how could they kill her? She had Some Like It Hot, the biggest movie in the world, just about to start a movie with Frank Sinatra. I was with her for a year, that's how I got close to her, in New York, because Costello put her in the Waldorf Astoria while she was studying with Lee Strasberg. She wanted to be a legitimate actress. And that's why Joe DiMaggio and her went back together again, because he was so jealous of her being a sex symbol. So now she's going to be a legitimate actress, and this hell happened. He impregnates her, and she's going to go to the press. So this was Monday morning, the last Monday in July 1962. August 4th, they reported that she was dead. Another coroner, Noguchi, said she died on the 5th. So even her death certificates right now are not right. But you're hearing it here first from me. June 1st of this year, 2026, will be Marilyn's 100th birthday. And what I'm doing right now, and I don't know if you know, I just renamed Dorothy Kilgallen Way in New York City, because Dorothy Kilgallen, 3 years later, was killed by the same assassin. And the both of them, on their death certificates, said they overdosed. So I'm getting this done by her birthday. I'm getting their death certificates from suicide to homicide. But I think tonight, thank you. No, clap for that, that's big. But I'm not here to sell books, especially not for this guy. This guy's 67 best-selling books. But he's my new hero. In fact, I did a show, goes out tonight. I don't know if anybody follows my podcast, Hollywood Godfather podcast. It comes out every Wednesday. I did a show on this now, on both of this, showing the combination, the doctors, the blood tests. They have everything stating exactly what I said happened. So with that said, thank you for being here. Thank you. I pre-sold a lot of books here, fortunately. My agent's here, I got to sell a lot more books. No, but what do you want to know? I'm an open book. Well, I shouldn't use that. Yeah. Just raise your hand, ask me anything you want. No loans, though. I'm not giving any loans. Yes?
Why did you just release the book now if you wrote it so many years ago?
I'm sorry, what?
Why did you release the book now if you wrote it so many years ago?
No,
Well, you wrote a lot.
I'm reflecting on in my life here. It's all my life. It's 80-something years, this book. But all of that, there's photographs. I mean, that's what's interesting, because, you know, all the doubting Thomases in the world. Where are the photographs of it? Is this a book without photographs?
No, they're in the middle.
Right in the middle.
Oh, there they are. I know this guy. Anyway, this is a book we just talked about, where I'm going to show you a picture of me with Marilyn Monroe in 1962. This is me right here with Marilyn Monroe at the pool of Calneva. It's in the book. And people say, oh, he wasn't with her. How did I get this picture? Am I crazy or what? Anyway. But there's so many pictures in here. But this is a life story book. That's why I didn't just write the book. It takes you from my polio as a kid and all my life. But this is the book I can't believe. To have this book come out now and certify everything I've said by a man who's written 67 best-selling books. He's written 114 books, and sold 450,000 copies of the books. And he certified me now. It's like a revelation. That's why if you have never watched my podcast, watch this one. Just save it. You're not going to believe where this is going.
So guys, we can hand this
I'm
mic
sorry.
down so everyone's
Yes.
nice and heard. Would you mind handing it down for a moment?
Hi, how are you?
Is that Donna?
No, I'm sorry? No, Mary Ann. Mary Ann.
Don't she look like Donna Soloway? I thought I saw her ghost.
Oh,
No, one of my closest friends. I'm saying, how'd she get up here? Anyway, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Mary Ann?
yes, Mary Ann.
Please.
How soon did you find out that Bobby did it, and what makes you so sure that he did do it?
Well, the only reason I know that is because, again, I was at Caldiva.
Right.
He was there.
Okay.
And she went crazy when they said, we wired your bungalow,
Oh,
and nobody knew she just had an abortion. Marilyn Monroe always wanted a child. I know Marilyn very close. We had something in common. When she was 12, she was put in an orphanage. When I was 12, I was in Bellevue. Not in a nut house. I belong in a nut house, but I had polio. But anyway, with that said, we were friends. Nobody knew she was pregnant. She didn't know she was pregnant because Frank Costello found a clause in her contract with the Xanax because they were only selling her as, TNA. And she studied with Strasberg now. She wanted to be a legitimate actor. She was about to make a picture with Frank Sinatra, legitimately. And they killed her on the 4th. I know they killed her on August 4th. But then playing the games with the control they had over 2 different coroners. The death certificates are 2 different days. But Bobby had her killed. I know the anesthesiologist that killed her. The same guy killed Dorothy Kilgallen 3 years later. And they all died the same way. They found them in their beds with drug paraphernalia. And Dorothy Kilgallen, I know her. She lived in a brownstone, 4568th Street, $22 million house. She's the biggest star in What's My Line. She wasn't going to kill herself. What for? She already had kids, and there was no reason.
but why do you think they killed her?
Well, John Kennedy was the president, and Bobby was the attorney general. They're both married men. Why'd they kill her? I don't know. What you figure it out. That's why they killed her.
Talk about,
Sir?
talk about
Oh, nice and close.
your meeting with, talk about your meeting with Carlos Marcello, and you're bumping into the guy coming out of the men's room, you're being at the airport, you're watching TV.
Oh, yeah.
Shot.
Well,
Wait. Also,
Yeah, the guy who's talking about Carlos
I want
Marcello.
to talk about that. Also,
Why don't we do one question at a time? Carlos Marcellos, at the time, I was like 17. Most people don't know, but Joe Kennedy and Frank Costello were partners during Prohibition. And during Prohibition, 1930s, they made $30 million each. 30 million. That's like $3 billion each now. And when Joe wanted his son to become president, he went to Costello. You put your mob friends together, all the unions, and if my son becomes president, we will invade Cuba and get your casinos back. That's why everybody backed him. All the mob families, Chicago, everybody, they had properties in Havana, but they got thrown out. So he said, if my son becomes president, we will invade Cuba and give you casinos back. That's why they did it. So my job at that time, to leave New York, I was going to different cities. If I tell you the cities, you know where I was at. Chicago, Detroit, all mob places. The Savellas, even Mickey Cohen in Chicago, in California. But that's how he got in. 1 year went by. They didn't invade nothing. They made Bobby the Attorney General. He called off. They said there's no Russian missiles on Cuba. We're not invading it. And you know why the Warren report will never come out? Does anybody have any idea why the Warren Report will never come out? The Warren Report will say that we had 2,900 troops on the ground, and Bobby called off the airstrike. They got annihilated in 17 hours. Everybody was dead.
They had pigs.
Yeah, they had pigs, right. They called it off. But I mean, this is, thank God, they say I'm gonna live to 115. I'm writing another book right away. But anyway, I'm gonna clarify a lot of myths in American history. And I'm not a historian, believe me.
You bumped into the guy in the bathroom in the restaurant.
Oh.
And then you're at the airport. Tell him that.
Well, no, I bumped into the guy. You got a good memory. You must have read something about me. But when I went, I just got off the plane, and a lot of times I had to go.
Back up.
Excuse me?
What were you doing in New Orleans?
Excuse me?
You went to get a message? And to bring it back?
I had 6 messages I had to get.
Okay.
I got a message in Chicago, Detroit, Ohio, Cleveland, down to California. Marcellus was my last stop.
And the message was?
And when they were, you want to do this for me? Come and sit on my lap. I feel like I'm a ventriloquist over here.
It's an infinitely interesting story. You're not telling your own story. You met the guy.
Hold a minute. You hear what you just said? I'm not telling my own story.
Right.
Could you be quiet for a minute before I throw you out of here?
I'm trying to get you to tell your own story. Tell it. Yes,
Well, shut up and I will. This guy's funny. When I came in, he came to me. You know who I am? I said, no. Anyway, bottom line, what he's saying is I went on a mission to get an answer. The answer was to start killing the Kennedys. Because 1 year went by, 2 years went by, they never invaded Cuba. The mob got nothing. John becomes president, and they made Bobby Attorney General, and he went after all of the guys that got his brother into office. They told, well, I can't tell you who delivered the message, but when they went to Hyannisport, somebody delivered a message and had to see Joe Sr. And the individual whispered in Joe's ear, we're going to start killing your sons. And he left. Joe had a stroke that day because he went to get the phone call and somebody told him, it's done, it's done. He had a stroke, he didn't even know his kids died. He died like a vegetable. Well, let's not get into that guy. He had his daughter have a frontal lobotomy. This guy's nuts. Did you know that? Yeah. It's crazy. But anyway, I go into the bathroom in Marcellus's, and he says, there's somebody there. So I walk into this guy, I don't know who the guy is. I leave, come out, and he's got to tell me in my ear. Now, I went to 6 states. Each person said, it's on. So when I saw Costello, I said, couldn't they tell you on the phone? He said, no, you had to tell me that they said it. That's the day they started assassinating the Kennedys. Wow. And I left the country for 3 years, 4 years at that time. Is that the story you want to say?
And you're at the airport, you see on TV, and the guy that you bumped into at the...
Is Lee Harvey Oswald.
That's the story.
That's not when I saw him. I saw him get shot by Jack Ruby, who worked for us in Texas, running up the books and the girly things. We told Jack Ruby, we'll get you, not me, but we'll get you to the cell. You killed the guy that shot Kennedy, which he did. His bullet hit the center in the front. A very close friend of mine died many years later, who really killed him. He was in a storm sewer as he came over the knoll, and he got his bullet was the one that the brains were shattered onto Jackie's suit. But anyway, I don't know how I know this stuff.
We hand that down to the gentleman in green.
I want to tell you, I read your book, Hollywood Godfather.
Oh,
Fantastic. Really, it was
Thank you.
wow, amazing. And
you know, based on that book, a guy called George Gallo, who did Midnight Run and so many movies, was about to do that. And I've had conversation with him. In fact, the show that's on my show right now tonight, a Hollywood Godfather podcast, it's all about what James Patterson did. I sent them this. I said, let's wait on that book. Now we have everything about all these assassinations. They have Bobby, they threatened her maid. I mean, you gotta buy this book. I mean, again, I have nothing to do with this book. But it clarifies it all. They've cleared up American history. They threatened the maid, and it's in the book. And they said, I don't care, put me in jail. They said they will kill my kids and me, and I'm not telling you who was here. And Bobby Kenny was in the house. He smothered her with a pillow. He chased him out of the bedroom. Then they staged her. They put a white phone in her hand. They spread drugs around her. 4 or 5 hours later, they let them come in, and that's when they got the report that she committed suicide. But it's crazy. But the cover-up, the Kennedys, the whole government is insane. But that to me is, I'm so happy this book came out, because it would have went on. How does he know this? How could I know that? How could I? But they clarify it. That's the whole reason I keep showing this book, because he's given me justification and really put my memory to rest. Because for 65 years, 63, when I told the story to begin with, Marilyn was killed by them, and nobody would touch it. But now that he's dead and everything's dead, and they have every report and who said it, which is interesting to me.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up.
Oh.
Given how you're talking about Marilyn Monroe, and I remember from the other book, as you're talking now, a very close friend of yours, does it feel good, does it feel vindication that this is all coming out and the records are being corrected?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's fabulous.
Yeah, because I mean, it's obvious, it hits you personally in a very deep way.
Well, and now I have a target date too. June 1st, 2026, I want her death certificate reversed. There's no reason. First of all, Dorothy Kilgallen is such a star in her own right. I mean, she was, What's My Line? She was on that show forever. She was a syndicated writer for like 2 main syndications a day. If you only got $1, that's how much money she had. You had to see her brownstone. It's amazing. But there's no reason her legacy should go down that she committed suicide. She didn't. She would never commit suicide.
Seems like a lot of that goes around.
What's that?
A lot of things happen like that shouldn't happen.
Go a little closer.
Oh, sorry. Seems like a lot of things like that happen that shouldn't be happening. In other words, people do things that you wouldn't think they'd ever do, but they do.
Oh, no. Well, I can understand the Kennedys doing what they were doing. They were trying to clean up their act.
Right.
But I'm glad it came out now, though. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The second question.
We're gonna.
First of all, thanks for being here and giving us all this.
Oh, no, thank you. I
insight.
appreciate you all being here.
It really is startling. What are your feelings about some of the recent programming that's come out, some of the recent information about questioning did Oswald even fire a shot that day? What's your take on that?
Can you say it again, closer?
Did Oswald fire a shot that day? What do you think?
You think Oswald
He
took a
just
shot
said
at that?
Oswald killed the senator in the front seat.
That's what he said.
So you feel that Oswald did shoot that day?
Oh, he shot. There was 5 shooters there.
I realize.
Lyndon Baines Johnson had a shooter. He had the Texas Rangers. The CIA hated it. The CIA hated the Kennedys. Remember, as soon as he got in, he fired the guy. I mean, when you see how many people were there that hated him, but the guy who got him was Gianni Russo. Gianni Russo was in the storm sewer. He entered the knoll 4 blocks away. As the car came up, he had the first shot of the windshield before anybody even could see it. As soon as he saw his head, he let it go. He was being trained. He was being trained by our CIA with Santo Trafficante in Florida to kill Fidel Castro. Our own guys trained this guy to be a marksman. 5 years later, they were bringing him in, and everybody knew he had claustrophobia. If they bring him in, he's going to talk, and that's what happened to him. So they killed him. And they killed him in Florida. They waited a little too long. Rigor mortis set in. They cut off his legs and put him in a barrel. This is a funny story for one reason. Gianni Russo, I find these stories funny because I know the guy. Gianni Russo, he used to get monograms, maybe 2-inch letters, JR. When they cut off his legs and stuffed him in the barrel, they painted the barrel white and they put a big JR on it. And they threw it in the bag. Months later, I'm having breakfast with a guy, I can't mention his name because he's still alive. And we're on the 79th Street Causeway, Stayford Place, and the barrel comes up.
Oh my,
And there's JR on it. We couldn't get out of the restaurant fast enough. It's like a moment, the guy's coming after us.
That is funny.
hi.
Hi,
Thank you for being here.
thank you.
Excited to meet you and read your story. I'll be an English teacher in a year from now, so do you have any advice to an incoming English teacher, and do you have anything that you think teenagers today should know or hear? Any advice from you?
You want me to give you advice?
Yeah,
You're
to me,
a teacher?
that I could
I'm an
relate.
illiterate. What am I going to tell you?
I read the introduction. The introduction looks good so far.
I can tell you, I have a lot of kids. With my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren, and all, I have 33 kids total. I have 10 sons that I had, some daughters, and I always tell them, when you get out of bed in the morning, make sure you're getting up to do something worthwhile that you want to do. Forget everything else. Money will come, whatever. Are you happy? Are you doing what you want to do? You're almost home. Just keep doing it. And you're educating people. That's great.
Hi. Actually, I had two questions. One was, I was going to ask you about your own family, but thank you for sharing that you have that many children. But I'm wondering how you feel sort of personally or even emotionally that you have what seems like more information than maybe you ever even wanted to have on something like the Kennedys. I mean, it's...
Well, you know,
You lived your life knowing things that people would probably still dispute and forever. I mean, it's...
Well, you know what it is with me? If it wasn't for a man called Frank Costello, ballpoint pens just came out. I was afflicted with polio, and I still had some of that, so I used it. I had a cigar box I used to rest on my arm, and for some odd reason, I took the train from Canal Street downtown, got off on 59th Street, and when I got off on the park side, I looked out and there was the Sherry Netherlands. And I walked across the street, and the only time I saw people dressed up nice and suits and all that was Sunday when they were going to mass in my neighborhood. Up there, everybody was dressed every day. Again, calling opportunities. I was holding these ballpoint pens, they just came out, and the guy from the Daily News took a picture of me selling it, and all of a sudden people were coming up to see me and buying pens. One of them was Frank Costello. And he came every day, never took a pen. Never took a pen. Give me words of advice, give me $5, whatever. But when he left, he always touched my left shoulder, which was afflicted. And that went on for months. I didn't care. The guy's giving me $5, $10. I was making $30, $40 a week with this guy. Touch whatever you want. I come out, when I left the neighborhood in the morning, out of respect to Carlo Gambino, he always had his first cup of coffee when he came from Brooklyn at Ferraris. Any legitimate business, he met there. So I'd walk by, say hello, just out of respect. I thought he really was my uncle, because everybody in our neighborhood, if you were over 21, we were raised, they're your aunt and uncle. I thought I had the biggest family in New York. But I went and they used to call me, wave me on, do this. One morning, I'm coming out, and right next door, which is interesting because Ferraris is still there since 1800s, And next door to it is a religious store that's still there. The religious store, I'm coming out, and he comes out and he says, Johnny, you're the same, right? I said, Mezzalomoli on messages now. He said, I just got these Logorns from Sicily. Now, for people that don't Logorn, you know the thing you wear around the neck, the horns, or the thing. So this Logorn was a hunchback on top of the red pepper that you see hanging. And I said, what's with the hunchback? They said, Sicilians touch cripples for luck. Well, the blood drained from my head. I thought Costello was, you know, really liked me. He said, I'm waiting for this guy. I don't know who he was. So on the way to the train station, I bought a red rabbit's foot for 10 cents and I put it in my pocket. And sure enough, here he comes. He came every day and stopped in the Sherry Nuggets for 10 or 15 minutes. I didn't know what he was doing. He was getting his shoe shine and came out before he went to the Waldorf. And he always had this guy with him. I thought it was his friend. It was his bodyguard. So he comes out, and I'm waiting for him to come. He touches me, and I move. Tries to touch me again, and I move. He says, what are you doing? I said, it's not what I'm doing. It's what you're doing. He said, what are you talking about? I said, I'm on to you. Here, I got you something for love. I gave Frank Costello a red rabbit's foot. He said to me, do you know who I am? I said, no, I don't care who you are. He said, what's your name? I said, I ain't telling you my name. And then he got stern with me. He said, tell me your name. Now stop playing the game. So I told him my name. He said, who's Anthony Russo to you? I said, Anthony Russo's my great uncle. He said, when'd you see him last? I said, I never saw him. He said, why is that? I said, well, if you're so smart, you tell me. He said, don't be a wise guy. I said, I'm not being a wise guy. You're asking a question, you're touching me like I'm some kind of freak. Who are you? So he tells me his name. I don't know who he was. What do I care? He said, why didn't you know what your uncle is? I said, they killed my uncle and some members of my family in 1949. They let them hang in the streets of Palermo to send a message that La Cosa Nostra was going to be wiped out. Well, we know that never happened. But from that day on, he says, Blackie, take that box. And that was my money box. I said, you can't have my box. He took out a roll of money, and he pulled off 3 $100 bills and bought $10 worth of pens. And he said, you'll never do this again, because my uncle sent his mother and father to America. I didn't know that. And that's why I had this unseen respect in the neighborhood, even Carlo Gambino, because I didn't know my family sent a lot of these people. I was just a kid. By that time, I was making a lot of money. Thank God to Costello. So the book of The Godfather came out. And I said, wow. So I had this girl read it to me, because I can't read yet. But the thing is, she read it to me. I said, I could play Michael, I could play Sonny, or I could play Carlo. So when I did, I said I want to do a screen test. So they told me the amount of money it would cost. I found a guy. If I tell you who shot my screen test, you all know. He's a big star in his own right. Shut up in there! What's up, my ex-wife? So a guy that you're going to know, he was from South Beach. His name is Vito Pacone. And he had a group called The Elegants, and they wrote, "Where are you, little star?" He shot my screen test. So he said, get a reel of 8mm, not talking about, see, opportunities. He said, get a reel of 8mm film. I shot a scene for Michael, scene for Sonny, scene for Carlo, like I said, not knowing I bought all 18mm film. I didn't know about film. I got the book, I made a nice cover. I got Betty McCart, who was Al Ruddy's secretary of Paramount, to get the test to him. Unbeknownst to me, that film came out in a sepia tone because it was old film. It wasn't color, it wasn't black and white. Coppola was trying to convince Paramount to shoot The Godfather in sepia tone. He thought it would lend to the story. So my test, again calling about an opportunity, went all around Paramount. Bobby Evans, all of them saw me, Stanley Jaffe, everybody. So now I'm reading that Joe Colombo is picketing the FBI building in New York because his son got arrested and he feels the Godfather should be stopped because it's making all Italians look like they're gangsters. Here's a guy, he owns one of the crime families in New York. He's like, you are a gangster, you idiot, look in the mirror. So anyway, I get involved. I call him up. I knew him because of Costello. I said, I want to come and talk to you. I said, I'm going to fly in from LA. He said, meet me on 86th Street. So I go to his club, and he was coming to New York. So he said, come on, take a ride with me. I just opened the Anti-Defamation League, the Italian Anti-Defamation League, on Madison Avenue. And again, a great opportunity. He hired Barry Schlotnick, probably one of the best attorneys in the world. In fact, Stu Schlotnick, his son now, is still my attorney. So, long story short, we meet. I said, I got an idea, you know. Why don't we meet with the Paramount people? If they take out certain things in the script and in the book, into the script, that you don't like, they change it, you get the cooperation of the city, the unions and all of that, and so we can make a lot of money. He said, oh, we can? I said, what's my idea? He said, how are we going to make money? I said, you're going to ask them to have the premiere night in every major city. And we did that. Obviously, you know that. We did it. And that's how I got my part. I wasn't cast by anybody. Even Coppola, when Brenda wanted to get me fired, he said, you know, this kid's playing my son-in-law, he's doing this, he's not an actor. And Coppola even rolled his eyes and walked away because he didn't hire me. So that's when I got Brando and I put my arm around him. I told him, let me tell you something, okay, Mr. Brando, out of all due respect, I know who you are. You get me fired here today, listen to me close, I will suck on your heart. You will bleed out. He stepped back, he said, that was brilliant. He thought I was acting, I was really watching. Because everybody I was telling I'm going to be in the movie, they said, how are you going to be in the movie? And I'm not an actor. But imagine if I got fired, I could never go back to the neighborhood. Forget about it. I mean, it's so crazy.